So if you're curious about some of the best things to do here in Gainesville, you're definitely in the right spot. In this video, I'm going to take you around and share with you some of the more popular things to do, places to go, and the best things to see. So Gainesville is definitely known for all of its trees and all of its nature trails. So kicking off our list at number 1 is going to be the Lachua Trail. This is a great park located in northeast Gainesville. This is probably the most frequent place my family and I love to visit. We are always looking for alligators and snakes in the water or on land. This particular prairie is unique because there's actually a drain in the middle of all this water, but sometimes it can basically be a lake out there. Prior to Hurricane Irma in 2017, you could access most of the walking trail, which is actually about 3.1 miles in total. Ever since that flooding and the constant rain we've had, it's a little hit or miss if the journey will end at the boardwalk or if you can walk all the way out into the prairie. If you do leave the boardwalk though, be sure to bring a hiking stick as there is a ton of wildlife including gators, roaming bison, and wild horses. So if you're new to the channel, my name is Donavan Arnold, and I was actually born and raised here in Gainesville, Florida. I'm also a local real estate agent. I put out these videos to help share with you exactly what you can expect if you're moving to the area, and I've been helping people for more than a decade with their real estate needs. So if you have any questions or are curious about the area, definitely don't hesitate. Give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email, and let me know what questions you have. Now, speaking of gators, what's most notably put Gainesville on the map is definitely going to be the University of Florida. So the next place you're going to want to visit is the University of Florida football field, Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Ben Hill Griffin Stadium is actually probably going to be better known as the Swamp. It's the football stadium for the University of Florida and one of the largest in the country, with crowds often ranging right around 90,000 people. It was originally constructed in the 1930s and has undergone many renovations and add-ons over all of the years. In preparation for games, the stadium is sometimes closed, but usually you can get in during the week, walk around the stadium. Of course, the field is going to be off limits, but you can definitely go in, run stadiums, get some exercise, and take a ton of great pictures. If you've never attended a college football game, there's definitely no place better to start than the University of Florida. Next, while you're on campus and around the University of Florida, you'll definitely want to go over and visit Lake Alice. So as mentioned, Lake Alice is actually on the campus of the University of Florida. It's surrounded by trees on 3 sides, and it's just a beautiful setting. It is extremely well known because there are a ton of gators in this area, also snakes, other wildlife. So definitely be careful when you're walking around the banks in that general area, as alligators have been known to actually crash some picnics and be very well present in this area. And situated on the corner of Lake Alice is also the Bowman Center. Between the amazing architecture and the beautiful setting, it's really easy to see why so many people would pick it as an event and wedding venue. Also located directly across from the lake are the UF bat houses. Each night around dusk, you can watch as 500,000 bats descend from their home out for dinner. To see the largest occupied bat houses in the world is definitely something unique to Gainesville. And our next stop is actually going to be just down the street at the Florida Museum of Natural History. So I know I've said a few of these other places are my family's favorites, but a must of ours has always been a visit to the Florida Museum of Natural History. Now, each time we go, we definitely learn something new and we explore some of their new exhibits, but it's also just a great break on some of those rainy days. They have a great discovery zone for hands-on experiences with the kids, but their waterways and wildlife exhibits, along with their Florida fossils, are always tons of fun and super engaging for just about anyone. Now, admission is typically going to be free for the main exhibits, but make sure to check their websites because they do often bring in new exhibits and some of those will have a cost. Now, I can't mention the Florida Museum of Natural History without also discussing the butterfly rainforest. This is actually an exhibit within the Florida Museum of Natural History, and it does have a separate cost for entry. This living exhibit showcases hundreds of different types of butterflies in which you can walk through and see them up close. You might even have 1 or 2 land on you. There's also other wildlife including fish, turtle, and birds, not to mention the incredible water features and the many different varieties of plants and flowers. It's worth taking 30 minutes or an hour just strolling through, seeing different varieties of birds and butterfly in this area. So one other unique place that may not show up on all the other lists is going to be Carson Springs. Carson Springs Wildlife and Conservation Foundation is actually located just on the outskirts of Gainesville, and this place features a variety of exotic rescue animals and endangered species. My kids personally love to visit, and most of the local schools actually do a field trip out to Carson Springs. They have about 25 different species of animals, and you can take a walking tour to find out the details on each of them. Not only do you get to learn about conservation and preservation of nature, but you're also able to get pretty close with some unique animals. They offer several different tours, packages, and host several events throughout the year. So make sure you check their website for detailed information. Be sure to visit Henry the Indian rhino. He was actually born in 1981 and is a unique addition to Gainesville for sure. So of course, this is just a highlight of some of the best things to do, but I'm curious, if you've already been to Gainesville or you live here, share with me down in the comments some of your favorite things to do in our area. So this next hidden gem is actually a Buddhist temple over in Northeast Gainesville. In a remote area over in Northeast Gainesville, there's a series of large Buddhist statues in a garden setting. There are 3 large statues are from Vietnam, and they weigh a combined total of 85 tons. This area is open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and offers some shade and a peaceful setting. With the statues towering around 50 feet in the air, it's definitely a unique addition to Gainesville and offers a nice area to reflect. Now keep an eye out, because actually the last time we were there was a gator in the pond, so be on the lookout. So the next place you'll want to check out that's definitely unique to Gainesville is going to be over in Northwest Gainesville, and that's going to be the Devil's Mill Hopper. Devil's Mill Geological State Park is definitely one of the most unique sites on this list. Located over in Northwest Gainesville off scenic Millhopper Road, Devil's Mill is essentially a giant sinkhole with a boardwalk leading down into it. For about 2 years, the boardwalk was closed due to damage from Hurricane Irma, but it has since reopened and is better than ever. Now you may be thinking, what's so fantastic about a giant sinkhole? Well, Devil's Mill is actually one of the few areas in Florida where more than 100 feet of geological rock layers are exposed. So for all of you rock nerds out there, this one's for you. It's definitely a workout though, with nearly 132 steps descending down, but the ecosystem you get to view is certainly worth it. Now you can bring your leash dog here at this park, but be sure to check their hours before going, and also bring some cash for the admission fee. Now our next stop is probably going to be one of the most beautiful settings in Gainesville, and that's going to be the Knappall Botanical Gardens. The Knappall Botanical Gardens is almost 70 acres of gardens featuring various plants and landscape design. Those are going to include butterfly garden, azalea gardens, bamboo gardens, and giant water lilies, just to name a few. There are so many unique areas to walk around and explore these varieties of plants. By far, the giant bamboo and water lilies are pretty amazing. Every spring and fall, they will host a plant and orchid sale, which is an extremely popular event here in town, and it will see large crowds with tons of vendors and lots of fun things for kids to do. Now, if you're looking to get some sun and enjoy nature, this next one's for you. That's going to be Sweetwater Wetlands Park. Sweetwater Wetlands Park is located off of Southwest Williston Road in Gainesville and typically opens around 7 and will close at sunset. With almost 125 acres of wetlands and ponds, this is a great place to exercise, take a walk, and observe nature. Or if you're into photography, see some unique wildlife. There are gators and snakes and other critters, so leave the pets at home for this one. With about 3.5 miles of graveled trails and boardwalks, it makes for a nice activity. Be sure to bring sunscreen and water though. There's no shade at this park. So the next place on our list is actually one of Gainesville's newer attractions. That's going to be the Cade Museum. The Cade Museum for Creativity and Innovation is located in downtown Gainesville, and spoiler alert, it's directly next to Depot Park, another unique place in Gainesville to visit. A newer addition to Gainesville, Cade Museum opened its doors in 2018 and offers hands-on experiences with interactive science and technology. It's obviously a great place for kids to visit and learn, but the museum is named after Dr. James Robert Cade, who was a professor at the University of Florida and the lead inventor of Gatorade. This particular section of the museum is not only kid-friendly, but very interesting and cool to see the progression and development of a famous sports drink throughout history. Be sure to check their website for their hours and costs, but Cade Museum is definitely a must visit. So you may have already guessed it, but the next place on our list is going to be Depot Park. Whether you're from Gainesville or new to the area, you've most likely heard of Depot Park, mostly because it's a beautiful place. It has a fantastic playground and a great splash pad for those of you with kids. It also has several restaurants and breweries nearby. The best part though, it's free. I highly recommend walking around the area looking for wildlife, viewing the large pond, and just taking in the elements. This $6 million 32-acre park often has concerts, 5K races, yoga in the park, festivals and events, and it's easy to get to from the downtown area. Not to mention the local food trucks are worth the trip alone. Make an afternoon of it by supporting local vendors, playing with your dog in the park, or like I mentioned before, the Cade Museum is directly next door, so take a visit over there. All right, so we saved the best for last. That's gonna be the ITA Tuck Me Springs. So maybe you need a little more adventure than just some of these museums. If so, then tubing down the ITA Tuck Me is a must for anyone who visits the area. While it's technically located just outside of Gainesville, this is one of those spots which typically year-round you're gonna need to get there as soon as it opens because it does fill up quickly, especially during those warmer months. The really unique thing about these springs is that they stay at a 72-degree temperature year-round, making it enjoyable any time of the year. While floating down the river, you can expect to see beavers, turkey, birds, snakes, gators, gars, turtles, and even manatees on your adventure. There are so many local springs nearby. If you're interested in this, definitely do some more research because there are a ton of options.